Climate.
Climate. So, another one of our walkthroughs. This is actually one of we're trying out a new thing where we go through the route, well, one of the routes we've actually set and played. And I was being a bit crazy the other week when this was set, and these holds don't lend themselves easily to the 45-degree wall, you know. So that's why you don't see them up the 45-degree wall. You know, you can get on them on the 45-degree wall, but you know, they're bloody hard. So let's talk about this route. You're starting down here on your arse, on this great big extra large climate guy, and this little moderate slope here. When they say moderate, they do mean moderate. You know, they've got a slight, not an edge on them, it's a round edge, but you can get your hands on, get your thumb over, and away you go. So you start, you pull, and you hit the side of this one, which isn't so much a sloper, it's actually more of a great big ledge. Even on angled walls, it's very ledgy. You can see, you know, I haven't climbed tonight, but give me a second. You can see these holds actually get quite chalked up, so you do end up brushing them quite a lot. So you grab this guy with big hands, and you come across. Now, people tend to get a little bit mixed on this move. You got two choices. You got this one, big double hand, you know, 2-pad grab. Or you've got this one, which is another 2 hands, you know, not as big as the other one, but this one's got a slightly nicer ridge. Now, people go for this one, which is actually quite hard on 30 degrees. It's actually a little bit harder to hold. So what you should do is grab this one, lock, bring your feet across, and then just catch this. Get your thumb on the grippy texture, and then go hodonk, and then chuck. This one is actually nice and slopey. Again, 2 hands. You can pull off it all you want. You don't really have to worry. Like, you know, if I can do pull-ups, if I can sit and hang and go, look, do on, you know, they're big slopers, but they are slopers. You can feel like when you're holding on them. Now, even here, I can feel when I was hanging, my hands are just coming backwards slightly. That's because it's a little bit chalked up. I just pulled the pad off. It's actually because it's a little chalked up, and because it is that slopey, it actually slopes out, round, and down. So it's actually quite fun. You catch this little side guy here, get yourself some balance. Nice little shallow dish. Reminds me a lot of an old voodoo hold. It's nothing like the voodoo hold, by the way, but it reminds me a little bit like the voodoo hold. It's like really nice hold, 2 pads, nice and good. Get your thumb on, and then you just come across once you get your balance onto this guy. This guy, again, they all slope in, out, flat edge, and you just catch, get all your skin on, get some purchase on the vertical wall, and you go to what is one of the biggest holds in the set. Another one of the XLs. Again, it's a slope, you know, you can get this on the 45-degree wall and hang off it quite easily, but it is a great big, you know, oh, you can get 3 hands on this guy. If I really wanted, you could really get 3 hands on. 3 hands on, just get yourself down, catch the next hold, which is again more like a ledge on a vertical wall than it is. This is a medium, I believe, and even the mediums I can get 2 hands on, and you know, I have a lot of purchase here to grab and move. I really don't need to worry. You come on down, watch Chris fall on his ass going backwards with the camera. You come on down, get yourself centered, and then you don't need, this is just a bump. You end up bumping to this guy, which is, this one is actually my favorite hold of the set. I don't think I set one around there now. This one's actually my favorite hold. It's quite deceptive. It's, I believe this is a large, and this one here is a medium. This one's, you know, you see them, they all look very similar. It's like the blank's been shaped and then they've just gone slope, 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 slope. So this one, you can really get on and hang. Though. This to 30 degrees is absolutely perfect. 45 is hard. You get on this one, because it's big, it's quite deceptive. You think you could be able to pull on it on a very, very steep angle. No, you can't. It's actually much more deceptive than you think it's going to be, and it's actually much, much harder. But that's one of the routes we set. We had these actually on our 60 move endurance route. At one point we had them at the end, which was a bad idea because you're pumped and then trying to hold on to these slopers. And then we had it at the start and we set it a little bit too hard. So it's quite interesting. We've mixed these up with the top out slopers, which are now called the, I can't remember what they're called. What the fuck are they called? Minimal slopers? Medium slopers?
I think like it's not hard, but it's like
Positive? Not positive. Minimal. Minimalist.
no.
Mimic.
No.
Mickey Mouse. Yeah. You have to be careful how you set with them. What we did, and if you remember, they were the top out slopers, they're called the shallow slopers. Now if you look at this hold, honk, and then you look at what you have to hold on to, you know, you can see why they're called shallow. And then you stick it next to this guy and go side by side, you know, this is a large and this is a medium, you know, the holds the thing. These are shallow and these are really hard to hold on to. These, the positive slopers, are actually, as it says, you know, positive slopers. But when you want to look at it, that's not really a sloper, that's a jug. You put it on an angle, it's a sloper. So it's, you know, if you look at the shallow slopers compared to the positive slopers are juggier, i.e. better for beginners, better for people that are just learning to climb, and better for very simple routes. Whereas the shallow holds down there are just plain evil. We love them, but they're just plain evil. You know, they're great for walls that have got 90 degrees where you're going up and you have to stem and bridge. You can really get quite good purchase. I set a route at alley up with these, and I actually set a route at alley up with these holds on a slab, and I watched some 513, 514 climbers fall off of it. It was brilliant fun to watch. These are these thin slopers are very, very technical. If I set the exact same route with the positive slopers, it's just a monkey route. The difference between these holds and these holds is about 3 grades. You know, you're looking at 5/8s, 5/12s, 5/11s, you know, you're looking at some harder things. It's quite funny. They do complement each other, and we have mixed the sets up, and it was quite hard to actually differentiate the sets between each other. We had to keep going back to the website to try and find, and some of these holds that we've actually got on this wall that we think are the moderate slopers may not actually be the moderate slopers because they're really quite hard to tell apart. So, these are the 2 holds I was actually talking about, you know, this one being the more deceptive one and this one being the medium. This is one of the positive slopers, one of the large positive slopers, sorry. You can see that it does get quite chalked up, and you know, when you're climbing a lot on these holds, you have to brush them off quite a lot. But as usual, you've got the big indented Climate logo, inset washer, and this one is actually a hollow backed, always with the center column, which is good. It gives you, you know, means you're nice and solid when it's on the wall and it doesn't flex too much. And then, you know, even for a hollow backed hold, the sanding's absolutely perfect. It's completely flat. You know, it's not hollow backed. It's always nice and flat. A little bit porous. It needs to be agitated a little bit more on the table to get the air out of it a little bit. Hasn't been sanded quite so well. There's a couple of areas like just here. This one's not going to sit quite flat because you can see there's an area where it hasn't quite been sanded completely flat, but it's fairly minimal. Once you get it torqued down, they just suck into the wall quite well. As always with Climate, we checked the bolt hole is actually 90 degrees. It's actually perfectly flat. It's actually 90 and then flat. So where they have sanded it through, it is actually perfectly 90 degrees. So when you put it onto a wall, it just sucks in and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. So these are the moderate slopers from Climate. There's actually quite a lot of holds. I believe there's 12 holds in varying degrees of sizes from XL to small. One of the smalls is up there, but had them all over the wall. We've had them on the 45. We had one route that was actually the extra large holds on the roof where we were coming around and having to double match and then knee bar the things on the ceiling. But we never actually filmed it because we didn't have a camera at the time, unfortunately. So these are the moderate slopers. They're moderate because they're a little bit juggy from Climate holds. We'll see how they climb.